All right, class, welcome to section 2.5 on constructions with Math 2020. We're going to do a series of 6 constructions, and there are typical constructions for that the Greeks had done many years ago. And constructions are like, if you're given an angle, how can you bisect it, or how do you bisect a line segment, and things like that. So this is going to be a very traditional lesson where we have a compass and we have a straight edge or a ruler that we're going to do them with. Okay. An easy way to think about all the constructions is to derive them all from the rhombus. Okay. So we're going to do a construction of the rhombus. And we're going to do 2 of those. And the first one will be the rhombus given a side. Okay. Rhombus given a side. So what we do when we start this rhombus construction is we have to be starting with the side. Okay. So to a point down there, and that's our beginning point. We're going to label that A. Okay. And we're going to use our ruler and draw out a random side length. So you can do any side length here. Okay. And then at the end of this segment here, we have point B. Okay. Now our rhombus is going to kind of go up this way. Okay. And so what we need to do is we need to draw an angle, determine our own angle here, about how open we want the rhombus. If we want to open up the rhombus in a certain degree angle, we can use our protractor and just measure out that angle. But in this case, I don't need to. And I drew out a line segment. Now this line segment is obviously a bit long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my compass so that I put my point on A and open up my compass to the length of my given segment, B, AB. Okay? And so then I'm going to move my compass up here and make a mark. At this intersection right here is the next point of my rhombus, the next vertex, and I'm going to label that C. Okay. Now I need another point kind of out here to complete the rhombus. Now to construct that point, it has to be the same distance from A and C and as a C and AB. Okay, so I'm checking my compass to open up, see it's AB and AC. And I'm going to put my point on C, and I'm going to make a mark out here, just anywhere. So this is the same distance from C as it is from A to C. And then I'm going to put my compass point right here on B, and I can mark the intersection between these two. That means that is the point that is the same distance from C to out here and B to out here. And this point right here is going to be D. Okay. To finish my rhombus, I'm going to use my straight edge. Okay, and complete the sides here. Okay, and there's my rhombus. What the characteristics of rhombus that are going to help us is that we can help us construct parallel lines because those two segments are parallel. If we think about the diagonals here, we can kind of bisect an angle or bisect a segment and find perpendicular of a segment. So here's our basic construction to start. Our next construction, number 2, is the rhombus given a diagonal. Okay, so we're going to do a rhombus given a diagonal. Okay, the rhombus given the diagonal. And this is another part for helping us do some segment bisections and perpendicular. So I'm going to draw kind of a long segment here. Okay, that's the diagonal of a rhombus. I'm going to label it A here and B here. Okay. And so I'm going to construct my rhombus around it so it'll look like this when I'm done. So up here and then down here. So I need a point up here that's the same distance from A and B. Okay. So I open up my compass to somewhere between, just over halfway. Okay. Just over halfway between A and B. Okay. And I make a mark up here, and I make a mark down here. Okay. And then I keep my compass open, and I move it over to B, put the point on B, and make a mark above and below the line again. Right where my other intersection is, where it's the same distance from A. Okay. What I've done is I've constructed 2 more points, which are the 2 other vertices of the rhombus. And I'm going to keep it in here and mark here with my ruler, trace it out here, the other vertices. Okay, so there's our rhombus. You can label this point C and this point D. Okay, that's the rhombus given a diagonal. In this next construction, we're going to bisect an angle. This is another classic construction. In order to bisect an angle, which means find a ray that splits the angle into 2 equal parts, I need to first draw out my angle. Okay? And draw angle BAC. Just a little bit. Okay, so here's a point, there's my A, there's my B, and when I get to my point C, I'm going to do it in a certain way because I'm going to use the rhombus to help me. Okay, so the rhombus will actually kind of come out here, okay, and I need it to come out here so that I can split the angle right through this other vertex from the rhombus. Okay. So I'm going to have to construct point C strategically. So I'm going to open up my compass to AB because I need AC to be the same measure, same distance. Okay, so my compass helps preserve distances. Okay, so I make a mark here. That's the same distance as AB. In that point, we're going to do C. Okay. Now I need to construct out the point D, which was out here. And I'm going to use the rhombus given a side type construction, where I open up my compass to AB and AC. I place the point of my compass on B, and I make a mark, kind of a big general mark out here. So this is all the points that are the same distance from B. But I need the certain one that is the same distance from C, so I put my point on C, and I make an intersection mark here from where it was on AB. Okay, so make a mark from B, make a mark from C, and where they intersect will be the same distance. And make that my point D. I'm just going to draw D down here. Now, notice that this is the rhombus right here. Okay, but I don't need to draw in these extra vertices because I'm going to just use my ruler and construct the angle bisector from here. It's a ray. I'll start from A, the vertex, and go out. Okay, and so these 2 angles right here are the same, exactly the same measure. That's bisect an angle. Construction number 4 is bisect a line segment. Okay, so we're going to split a line segment into 2 parts that are the same size. In order to do that, we're going to have to start with a line segment. Okay, Okay, so I put out my ruler here, and I'm going to draw a random size line segment. And I'm going to label the ends points as a segment. That's going to be A and this is going to be B. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rhombus to help me. So here's a rhombus up here and rhombus down here. Okay, so this is from the rhombus given a diagonal construction. Now if you recall, to construct the other vertices of the rhombus, we have to open up our compass more than halfway of our segment. And I'm going to dial in a little bit, so it's just over halfway. I'm going to make a mark above and below the line. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit shorter, so I can get above here and not run into my title. Above and below the line. So I put a little bit of a mark there. Those are all the marks that are the same distance from A. And I need to find the intersection of those, so to put my point on B and kind of mark above and below the line too. Okay. So you can see here that the rhombus will go this way if I drew in all the vertices, but since I'm only focusing on bisecting the line segment, I just need to find out where this point is here, that's halfway, or putting up my ruler here at these intersection points, which indicate halfway, and I'm going to mark this part right here where I can just draw another dot, a point, and that will be point C, and C bisects segment AB. This next construction is the perpendicular line through a given point. Okay. Perpendicular line through a given point. So first we're going to just draw a line or just a segment right here, and I drew it at a little bit of an angle so I can show you that it is perpendicular. Let's pretend that that's our segment, and we're going to give our point up here somewhere, maybe right about here. This is point P. Okay, I need to draw perpendicular from P through this line here, perpendicular line through that. And when I do that, I'm going to use the rhombus to help me. Now the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular, and so I'm going to kind of outline a rhombus here. Okay, you can see the faint lines. That's my rhombus, and I want my line to go through these vertices right here because I have set up my diagonal of this, the shorter diagonal on the line here that I draw, and I'm going to draw a line through these points here so it can be perpendicular. Okay. In order to do that, I'm going to open up my compass to point P down to the line somewhere here. Okay. So it could be anywhere on this line. We just need to find a part here. Okay. And I'm going to make a mark on the line for those vertex here. Okay, so there's the intersection there. And what I need to do is I need to keep the compass open to that distance and make a mark down here for the other vertex from point P. Okay, so these two vertices are the same distance from P. Okay, now I'm going to construct here, this point out here. It's like the construction of a rhombus given a side, where I'll take this distance here and that distance here, find these intersections, and so I'm going to actually put a point here at the intersection so I can mark my compass better. Okay, and so putting it on P, or on the intersection there, I'm going to draw the intersection of these points at where P can come through for the perpendicular. Okay, put my point on there and mark the intersection. Keep my compass open the same distance. Okay. Now this is the other vertex of the rhombus. Okay. And all I need to do is take my ruler, my straight edge, and put them on P and the new vertex here. And I just draw a line down this way. Okay. So this line right here is perpendicular, and you can indicate that by doing a little square. The next construction that we will do is a parallel line through a given point. Okay, parallel line through a given point. So I'm going to draw a line first at like a certain angle here. Just a nice fun jaunty angle. And I'm going to draw a point somewhere up here. That'll be point P. And I need to draw a parallel line through P right here to this line right here. Now the sides of a rhombus are parallel. Okay? So I'm going to just go ahead and open up my compass to a distance here. Let's go ahead and make the rhombus start right about here. Okay, this will be my P here, my A here. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to PA, just anywhere on the line, and my rhombus will actually kind of come out this way. It looks like I'll need to extend this a little bit more. Okay, that should do it. Okay, it looks like I have opened my compass up to AP. All right, now I need to construct this point right here. And then this will be my B. And then I construct a point out here so that it's like a rhombus given a side. Okay, so I have my point here, and then I need to go from P out to this direction, and then you go from B out to this direction. Put my point on P, put my point on B, and mark the intersection. Okay, and what you have here is the other point of the rhombus, and let's call this Q. And when I put my ruler on here, it'll be parallel. P and Q. Draw a line through P and Q, and that's parallel. With this video, we're going to do a couple of fun constructions. One of the funnest ones is just an nice equilateral triangle. And the equilateral triangle will be given a side. Okay, triangles are pretty neat, huh? And so we're going to first give our segment down here. We'll do like an equilateral triangle with the base given here, just any size segment. Label this A and B. We need to construct a point up here somewhere, so that make it equilateral, so that A and this point C, let's call it, are the same, and B and the C are the same. So let's open up our compass to the same side length segment. Same length here. Okay, got that. We're gonna make a mark up here, same distance from A to that mark. We're gonna turn our compass over and put our point on B. And then we're gonna do the same mark up here. Okay, so that this mark up here is the same distance from A and B, and then we'll call that C. And then we can draw in our segments. Equilateral triangle. In this construction, we're going to do something a little bit fun. And I'm going to construct a pentagon given in a circle, inscribed in a circle. Okay, so first we need to draw a circle with our compass. Okay, and try and draw this here. There's one part of it. almost there. And the last part of my circle, right here. Okay, good. This is a pentagon inscribed in a circle. Okay, so we have the center of our circle here made by the mark of our compass. And what we need to start out with is a diameter. So I'm just going to do the one from here. So I draw my diameter. Okay, and then I need to construct a radius that's perpendicular to the diameter out this way. Okay, so I'm going to use, for this pentagon is good because I'm using all of the things that all the tools that we just learned, constructions so far. So we need perpendicular going out this way. And I'm going to open up my compass to a certain distance. I'm going to keep it kind of small because my pentagon will be small. And I need to make a mark on either side of my point here. Okay, because when I do that, I'm making a rhombus, the diagonal of a rhombus, these marking out the vertices. Okay, and so I'm going to mark those points here. Okay, and from here, I'm going to open up my compass a little bit more than halfway. So I'm going to open it up a little bit. And when I do that, I'm going to put a point on one of my new vertices here and mark above and below this line, or to the right and to the left of the line. Okay. Then I'm going to put my point right here and do the same thing to mark the intersection. Oops, slipped a little bit. And mark the intersection here. Okay, and then the perpendicular is going through these intersections here. Okay, the more precise you can be, the more accurate your pentagon will look. So try that here. Now, once I've drawn this radius, I need to find the midpoint of this radius. Okay, midpoint. So I'm opening up my compass. I'm going to put a point here, and this point up here, this point down here. So I open up my compass to a little bit more than halfway of this radius, because this radius is actually the diagonal of another rhombus. So more than halfway, I'll mark above and below the line to get the midpoint. So there's above, below, and the same thing, move my point to the center of the circle, point it there, and mark above and below the line. And you can see where these intersect. So I can't really see this intersection too much. I'm gonna mark it a little bit more. That one's good. There you go. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna put my ruler right here along those marks, intersections, and mark the midpoint of this segment here. And from this midpoint, I'm going to put I need to draw in this distance here, that segment. And I have an angle. This is the angle here. Okay, and after I find this angle, I'm going to bisect the angle. There'll be some line that goes up this way. So bisecting the angle, again, we have to construct a rhombus. And I'm going to make it, I'm going to open it up to about here. Let's just open it to about here. You can open it up to here if you want to. Let's make a mark here, right before my radius ends here. Make a mark up here. And these are two vertices to my rhombus. And this is the rhombus construction given a side. Okay, so there's these two here are the same length. Now I'm going to construct, I have my compass still open to the same distance, and I'm going to construct the vertex here, the last point. Open it up, put it here, make a mark, put it here, make a mark. Okay, and then the line that goes from this beginning vertex through here is the bisects my angle. Okay, so I found this point. Now, when I construct either a parallel line through this radius and through this point here, I mean, where it hits the diameter, or I can construct another perpendicular from the diameter. Okay, so let's do a parallel segment so that we can get this point right here out to here. I need this one about there. Okay, parallel to this one going through this point. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to this distance here. Okay, and I make a mark here. And I'm going to extend this a little bit so I can get that intersection. Okay. This intersection. Okay, so just a reminder, this point, there's a vertex. This is another vertex of a rhombus. So my new point is going to be coming out there somewhere. So notice that I'm still opened up to this distance here. And so from here, I'm going to make a mark out here. And so from here, I'm going to make a mark out here. That intersection right here, and this point right here, let me check those points here for a second. Okay. Okay. So this should be parallel. So I'm going to have to kind of go right here, because I missed this intersection a little bit. Let's erase that. Come down here a little bit more. Okay. Okay, parallel segment. This point right here that I'm hitting at the edge of the circle is, and this point right here is the first segment of my pentagon. Okay. And so that segment, when we open our compass up to that distance, we can go ahead and use that distance to find the other segments of a pentagon, because pentagons all have the same length segments. So I'm going to open my compass up to this distance here. Okay, just to check it. And then I'm going to bring it down here. And I'm going to put this distance here, bring it over here. Okay, this intersection is another point in the pentagon. This intersection is another point in the pentagon. Bring it up around here. And then checking this distance here. We're good. We've constructed a pentagon. Let me go ahead and draw in the rest of the segments. And you have a beautiful pentagon. Now, constructions are mathematically pleasing to the eye. They're aesthetically pleasing, and so that's why the Greeks loved them so much. Okay, so I've been able to successfully draw a pentagon around this whole circle. So notice how nice that is. Here's your pentagon.